is still more powerful than fear. You just
Okay,
have to make it.
you should bring that up so I can explain to you what that means and where it comes from. Okay?
I might just do that. When-
Please do.
How long
Yeah.
have you
I have no idea. Maybe the whole time.
Melody,
I asked.
I hear that haunting melody.
Questions on text messages. And
It's
then
in my
every.
every.
Ignore that last one. I did my homework.
It says we'll never part. Can't you see
You know what? I didn't realize
that
how
we
crazy
can
you
spend
were like that.
eternity?
Like I had zero idea how crazy.
Our
you were.
lives were
Which is what I
really
said
meant
to do. I was
to
like crazy,
be
and I still, and thank God.
together from the start. No one else could
Studying
fill
before
my
we
life
had,
with ecstasy. No one else, it seems, could make me care. What is left is just a memory that's so empty and so unfair. Melody, I'll write another melody, and this time from the start you'll see. I'll write it from the heart, and words that say, come to me, stay with me. Won't you stay with me?
And check it out, the two Giselles and David and Donna, the two D's. Balance.
No one else could fill my life with ecstasy. No one else, it seems, could make me care. What is left is just a memory that's so empty and so unfair. Melody, I'll write another melody, and this time from the start you'll see. I'll write it from the heart, and words that say, come to me. Words that say, come to me, stay with me. Won't you stay with me? Stay with me.
For business. Live from the Amp Media Studios, Dawn and Freddie S. and their team are ready to serve up a huge portion of fun for lunch with friends and neighbors. So let's break open that lunch pail and unwrap that sandwich you brought and take a front row seat in the Brooklyn Cafe and get ready to enjoy some humor and hot topics. It's time to get a healthy serving of hope and happiness to help your day go by with a smile. Your hosts, Dawn and Freddie S., are ready to talk about food, health, dating, or just plain dream making. If you have a story to share, movie review, restaurant critique, or just a coincidental thing that happened to you, call in toll free 888-994-4995, Studio A right now. Sit back and enjoy your lunch break at the Brooklyn Cafe. Here are your hosts, Dawn and Freddie S.
Welcome to the Brooklyn Cafe on a beautiful Thursday afternoon. You know, it's one day less to the weekend.
Really?
Yeah, because yesterday I posted Happy Thursday just to get a reaction because it was Wednesday.
Yes.
Everybody wrote to me.
You're wrong.
What is wrong with you? Is everything all right? And I go, what's wrong? Well, today is Wednesday. You say happy Thursday. I said, that's because I'm looking forward to tomorrow.
Oh, there you go.
I have no idea what the hell I was talking about.
You never know what today is. You
That's
wait
right.
and see what tomorrow
Until
brings.
today appears.
And you didn't know
I
who was
got
coming in today.
rabbis, I got Latinas, I got Mr. David in the studio. I got all sorts of stuff happening
You
today.
got a lot going on today.
A lot. Very happy.
Thank goodness, because you were a little crumpy this morning.
No, I wasn't.
What was that?
I don't know. I just felt something coming. The rabbi was coming.
Rabbi Donna in the house. Only took a year, but we got her here.
It's taking more than a year.
It's taken more than a year.
It's like 3 years.
It might have been more than a year.
No, actually, it's
Let's talk into your mic.
Actually, it's taken 64.5 years.
64.5 to get you here. True that.
That's
She got a
it.
huge message that she may remember or may not, because I told her forget the papers. She goes, I got 10 points I'm going to cover
No,
today.
really, I've got all this
She
stuff.
goes,
I
"If
brought
do
all my
2
bullet
minutes
points.
per bullet point, I can get through here, and then by this one, I'm going to share that. And I'm sitting there going, okay. And then David walks in, the ladies are here.
Right.
And I said, you do know you're not getting to any of those 10 points. Right?
Actually, there is that one point. There
We're
is.
going to get through that one. We're going to get to some points, though.
We're
Okay,
going to get to
cool.
all your points. Because if you got a pencil, we got the paper.
Got the point. Because we had a great show yesterday. We talked about spirituality. We had Elizabeth joining us, Pastor Bill's wife, amazing, Elizabeth
Good
Mitchell,
show.
in her book
Good
and
show.
her journey of losing a child and what it's like to find God. And then we had Sharon Levy with us, who had lost her daughter, and then her husband 17 months later to a broken heart, and how everyone finds spirituality and faith in whatever they believe in. And by, of course, the grace of God in the universe, we've got Rabbi Donna here today. And it was not planned by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, because I don't remember ever seeing Rabbi Donna and any
People
doctor.
pick days of what's good for them, and it sort of just falls into alignment. And then I woke up this morning and went, wow, now we have another side of perspective on spirituality, not and religion a little bit, but faith-based.
Did you know she was coming?
I did.
You didn't tell me.
I've been talking to her for 64 and a half years. We've been planning this for quite a while.
That's
and
a
I
long
reach out to her,
conversation.
and then she goes, I was just thinking about you. And then we go back, are you ready to come on? Not yet, but. And this was a not yet, but yes.
Not yet, but yes.
This was, we got
But
further
that was
on
like
this-
a week and a half ago.
That was, yep.
So that wasn't a long not but yes.
No, that was
It
good.
wasn't 64 years.
Well, I hope you're not going to wait another 64 years to visit us again.
Oh, darling, thank you. No, I'm happy to be here. Really happy to be here. And look, I'm like getting used to this whole thing. You people are also great. So Dawn and I were speaking, and she asked me, you know, all kinds of questions, but here's how I began to learn about my own spirituality. 4.5 years old. In the stroller on the corner of 225th Street and Merrick Boulevard in Laurelton, Queens. And on the way back home with Mom, and I must have said, where are my sisters? Because it was the Tuesday after Labor Day. And Mom said, they're in school. Next year, you're going to go to school, and then you're going to grow up and get married. And 4-year-old me said, and this is where I become an extremely independent human being. And I looked inside, and I said, you got this? And then Mom taught me how to connect with God
Wow. At 4.5.
throughout my whole life. But yes, that's my 4.5-year-old story. It's actually part of the way my book is going to begin.
The book that she wasn't going to talk about, but yeah.
The book that I
And here we go.
wasn't going to talk about.
So that's point one.
I told you, this place takes it on a life of its own.
It's really, really.
Well, how did Mom teach you to connect with your spirituality? Because you tell me you grew up Orthodox?
Right. Mom didn't. Good question. So Mom didn't teach me how to connect with my spirituality. Mom taught me how to talk to God.
And what did Mom say?
Actually, what did
I
that say?
got humans.
That too.
Like, dear God,
My dear God, what do I do with this?
Yiddish.
Right?
You know, it's funny you say that because Latinos, we just say, ay, Papa Dios. And
Same thing.
Seems like we always talk to God that way, right?
Right? Same thing.
Say that again, Freddie.
Ay, Papa Dios.
Ay, Papa Dio. I love that. So in Judaism, God is both Elohim and Shekhinah is the feminine healing side of God. And Elohim is the masculine, straightforward. So there's Zachar and Nekeva. There's always a balance of masculine and feminine energies in Judaism, Freddie. So Papadio and Oy Gatenyo Mans. And then there's Shechina. But for me, really, after a very long journey, and my background is filled with things like Orthodox yeshiva through high school, finishing in Israel, on a kibbutz, right? Growing up in a conservative household, teaching in the Reform movement. And then sooner or later, I found myself in Buddhist meditation and learned how the term Jubu came into being, Jewish Buddhist, because when you're doing silent meditation in that forest area, and you come to the tree that has the plaque that says Shriva Baba whatever Harry Schwartz, you know you're in exceptional company. But that was a serpentine path that led me back to Judaism through a weekend called Dharma and Torah.
All right, so you weren't always a rabbi, or were you?
I don't know, in the 4th grade I thought, I want to be a rabbi. Oh, girls can't do that. I'll be a tzaddik instead, a righteous person. That didn't work out so
You know, I
well.
gotta ask, you and I know Rabbi Jenny, and when I met her, I
Yeah.
said, how are you a rabbi? You're a female. And she said to me, well, how are you a man? You're a guy. And I said, well, that doesn't make any sense either. Can a female be a rabbi?
No, we're all fake. It's
Yes.
fake news, Fred.
We can now, but back
You
in
can
the
now?
day, you could
What
not.
day? Yesterday?
Your day, my parents' day, my grandparents' day. They
So
were
today
not-
you
It
can?
was
Yeah, you
in the
can,
last
yes.
century that the first female rabbi was ordained, and that was, and you know, like I'm going to tell you right here and right now that I forgot more than most people will ever learn about Judaism. So shame on me that I don't remember this rabbi's name and the movement that he started, Reconstruction Judaism. But his daughter was one of the first. Conservative Judaism finally started to ordain women. I think it was in the late 1950s or 60s. I don't recall.
So a rabbi decided to ordain a female a rabbi. That's what changed everything?
Good question. Not a rabbi, because nothing is in Judaism is done by A1 anything.
Okay.
So when things emerge, they need to be addressed from the place of L'Shem Shamayim, in the name of heaven. Because our job is to bring heaven down to earth,
Okay.
right? A lot of people align on, and then when I get to heaven, well, you know, this is the one form we got, folks. We're here for whatever length of time that we're here.
So everything's in alignment with God, heaven, the Almighty, bringing it to us instead of us there, bringing it down.
Yeah, it's about bringing Torah down to earth. It's about bringing God's gifts down to earth. So, you know that ragtag group of people and the people who are aligned with us that left the place, that narrow, constricted place called Egypt, right? Mitzrayim, Tsar, that place of Tsuras, Tsar, that's Yiddish, Tsar, narrow. We then wandered in the desert for like how many years, right? 40, because we had to clean out a bunch of stuff. And then we got to Sinai. And at Sinai, that elevated place, we literally heard lightning and saw thunder, kind of backwards. Because that's what it took to turn the world upside down and bring God down.
Interesting.
Each to their own understanding, where they're at on their life and spiritual path, right? And today, we're so, what's the good word for divided and divisive, and the Yiddish word of fakakta with everything that's going on
That's
with
going to
it?
be your new favorite word.
Fakakta.
Fakakta?
You like
all
it?
messed up. Everything's all kind of just
Yeah,
messed
it's
up,
like
upside down, backwards.
Yeah, upside down, and it's all messed up, upside down and backwards. And I'm sorry, I'm having a moment of deep sadness about that.
Fakakta?
And how the world is so messed up right now. We talked about this yesterday, that there's sinners. It's sometimes a very sad place that we're dealing with right now. And if we can bring light, I had this thought this morning. I'm thinking, all right, what is the message of today? And I never have this thought. I'm usually just trying to get dressed in the morning. All right, I'm thinking, all right, I need to like open up a book and find a passage of what the thought is of the day. And as soon as I think that, I get a text from Dr. Lynn, who was here the other day talking about flow. She sends me a beautiful picture of the sunrise. And she says to me, she says, this is just a reminder that whenever there is darkness and when I feel the saddest, or when anyone feels the saddest, there is always light and there is always hope. And it was just that moment when I was thinking it, she sent it, and I thought, that's the message of the day. So the sun does come up and there is light on the other side of darkness, but we have to find it within ourselves spiritually and love ourselves, right? Through self-love, through forgiveness, through all the things that we talk that we should be doing.
That's really it. Okay, so now I'm going to my bullet points.
Now are you back to your bullet points?
Yeah, because I
Okay.
have to be, because like there's like, you just opened up the door to like 30 different paths within Judaism of what to follow, you know what I'm saying? So here we go. Okay, so in the larger picture right now, you know, when you think about there was a science revolution, the industrial revolution, right now we're in the stewardship of the planet revolution. And anytime there's a revolution, people revolt. I don't want to change. I don't like changing. Oy vey is mir, right? No, people like things exactly the way they are. But Jews are always the agents of change. That's part of what bringing heaven down to earth is about, because there's always a way to improve, and that has to do with a pretty common term known as tikkun olam.
We talked about that earlier. This, Giselle, we were talking about tikkun olam, and I said, can you explain what tikkun olam is? And you said, no, you got to listen to the show. So, for those people that don't know, there are certain basic laws of Gimilut Hasadim and tikkun olam and all the things that we should be doing. Can you
Good.
explain what that is?
Yeah, I'm happy to.
Thank you.
And also, remind me to address the Jewish Holy Trinity. Oy vey, somebody's going to yell at me for this. But tikkun olam, in the broad sense, means repairing the world. But we can't repair the world truly unless we repair ourselves. And that's the spiritual practice, right? That's the spiritual practice. And so what are some spiritual practices? Well, you know, one of mine is crossword puzzles. And the clue in this, I love when a crossword puzzle always aligns with my spiritual practice. And you can have a spiritual practice anywhere. You could play the dictionary game. You could say, okay, what's my word today? Open up your dictionary, put it down, and you'll see what your spiritual practice is for that day.
That was my message today. What's my message of today? And I got this text. I've never thought this or done that. And it was like, boom, there it is. But a couple weeks ago,
Yes.
that word you showed me, it was National That Word Day. So say it, because none of us knew what it meant.
National Grapple Day?
Yes.
I don't know what National Grapple Day
Neither
is.
did
but
we.
The
But there's your
answer is
word.
wrestle.
Yeah,
But
You know what
here's
grapple
the
is?
deal.
it's wrestling.
The Jewish people are called a lot of things in the most positive senses of the word, right? So we're called Ivrim, Yehudim, but we're also called Yisrael. Yisrael. And in Judaism, there is no, one word never means one thing. That's the depth of Judaism. That's the study of Judaism. Yisrael means wrestling, grappling with your relationship with God.
That's really interesting. Because we were talking before the show with Giselle about being to Israel. Have you ever been to Israel,
No.
David?
No, I have not.
But you have.
Yes.
And and Rabbi Donna says, how did it make you feel when you were there?
It was an emotional experience, regardless of your faith. It's something that you can't really explain unless you've been there. It was just very emotional, eye-opening to know all the history, the very important people that have walked the same streets that you're walking.
It's the feel.
It's the feel.
We talked about that yesterday, the feel.
Right? I said we were talking about that at one of our morning shows, that you can't, if you have to see to believe, you will see it in Israel, no matter what religion, what faith, what you believe in. You can see it actually there, or you don't need to see it, you can feel it. You can just feel it, you know in your mind who walked those streets, who was there, what happened there in this little one area. We even talked about the pyramids. Remember how all those got built? We talk a lot about this.
We did. You know, it's interesting because the more I listen to what Rabbi is saying, it's complicated being Jewish. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts to this thing.
Oh, baby, seriously complex.
It is. You know, Latinos, I listen to music to get word, to get advice, because Latinos like the music. And if you and listening to the two ladies when music was going on, they're naming the type of dance or music that's playing.
They were dancing salsa.
But the funny thing is that sometimes you're picking, like she says, crossword puzzles can come from music and the words and the inspiration. And that's what happened yesterday with Sisi, when he sang the religious stuff that was coming forward. It was unbelievable. So I think it's the moments. You know, you walk down Israel and you walk down in these areas, in these special places, and you get this feel. And then whatever it is that ties you to your spiritual side, if it plays at that time, at that moment, you'll probably see different things around you.
Am I allowed to cut in here and say, Freddie, you're addressing something really important that extends throughout all of humanity called human culture. Human culture. My mother didn't want to know Gurnished, that's Yiddish for nothing. She didn't want to know anything about the Torah. She wore the Torah around her neck, but she didn't want to know anything about it, right? But give her a Mizalou, send her to a bar mitzvah dancing and celebrating life cycle events, have her watch Jackie Mason, and she was all in. That's a part of being culturally Jewish. What people don't get, and there's like all this anti-Semitism today, again, my heart hurts. What people don't get is that Judaism, Jews, Israel is and born as a nation on a land, a religion, and a culture. And that's why it's complex. Because we've got messages for all parts of life and society. And again, unless we're going to do tikkun olam, where it really makes sense in different areas, we have to tikkun our own olam. So I'm going back to my crossword puzzle for your own inner tikkun olam.
So how do we first start to repair ourselves before it all? We always say it starts with you, self-forgiveness, self-love, right? Repairing ourselves before we can give to others. It's like, you know, you take the oxygen mask on an airplane first to you before you help others.
Right.
Same concept.
Yeah, no, I love
But
that.
how do we, in a spiritual sense?
Good, thanks. I actually was listening to your show yesterday morning. I watched it on YouTube because I was doing my homework before I got here. And I, you know, you said something about that you woke up at 3:30 in the morning and you were having a panic attack, or 5 in the morning, and you put your hand on your heart for meditation and it really worked. I want to provide you with something Jewish about that. And it's in the Elder Testament. I like to say elder versus old, because elder and younger testament means it's part of the same tree, and guess what? This family can talk to each other and see what we have in common.
Nice.
And hashtag Rabbi David Zaslow, Ashland, Oregon. So
Nice.
he's the teacher of that. Remind me of my train of thought, because I don't remember where I was.
When I put my hand on my chest
Oh,
to
right,
breathe.
right. So consider the fact that when you're breathing in, God is breathing out right into you.
So bringing heaven down.
No, life force.
Okay.
Life force, your life force. Bringing heaven down is another one of those complex areas.
You confused yet?
More complications.
Yeah, it's complex. So, but it's really simple once you get it. It's called Hasidic Pshat, the simple. Oh my God! So get this now. That's what it is. But you know, so when you're breathing in, God is breathing out, and when you're breathing out, God is right there with you, taking it, holding you side by side. So you can consider in your breath. Buddhist tradition is I'm here, I am home, I am in the now. Whatever you need to do to calm down and bring God in. But even more importantly is this crossword puzzle thing. Clue, entreat. Entreat. What do you think the answer was? Entreat. What does entreat mean? It means to. Begins with the letter P.
Persistence.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think you talked about that yesterday, and persistence is good.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Patience?
That's a good one, too. That's a good one, too.
Persevere.
Pray. So to entreat means to go internally, to retreat internally. And when you're internal and you're retreating, and I'm not talking about synagogue prayer, although it can be done there, and I have done it many times. I'm talking about your personal relationship with God so that you can start to find your gifts in your area of tikkun olam, and the only way that's going to happen is if you pay attention to what is hurting and ailing and needs to be healed inside. Okay? But when you're praying and you're in that space, what there is to do is to connect with God and align with connecting on God and worshiping God, not money, not the job, not how I look. Worship God, because that light is going to give you insight. And that insight is about connecting with wisdom, and that wisdom is your next step to exactly what you need to do in that moment, that day, next week. And you have to stick to that flow. You have to stay in that flow. And it means having a practice, like my mother taught me, of talking with God, praying to God every day, even if it's for 12 seconds. You know what brought me to Florida? A 12-second request. Where am I going now? Oh, right, Florida, thanks. Boom, here I am. And
I love about your message, and we're going to get ready to go to commercial break, is how you tie everything that we've talked about together for this week. And religion aside, whatever your faith is, it's repairing yourself, it's talking to God, it's reading the messages, it's sitting in silence, as I say, whether you call it praying, silence, meditation, Buddhism, crossword puzzles, asking the questions and knowing that God, the universe, your energy is right there with you if you take the time to ask or to seek. And you've kind of wrapped up this entire week, not even knowingly, I don't think.
Can I put a little cherry on it?
Yes, please.
And I definitely didn't know it. What anybody needs to be cautious of is, when that, we say ego,
We talked about that too. Yes.
begins to take control of what's going on. And how you know that is you begin to feel off-center or a tension or a constriction. It's an awesome path. It's an awesome path to be connected with God, guided by God, and then also have your learnings and teachings, whether it's the Younger Testament, whether it's Islam, Sufis are amazing, really, really amazing. Buddhist teachings, all of it came into being because all of it is meant for the different streams of different people to be able to understand and begin to wrestle with relationship with God, to be able to have your gifts come out, your unique gifts to assist the world, even running through your professional lives.
By doing this, we bring the light.
Bingo.
All right, we're going to take a commercial break. Stay tuned. Find your light. Bring the light. There's always hope. Give us a call, 888-994-4995, Studio A. We'll be right back.
Planning for the future should not be painful and needs to be discussed. From health, family, finances, allow qualified professionals to aid in your planning. Luhu Advisors have been serving South Florida for over 30 years. A licensed real estate broker, insurance agent, assisted living administrator, and certified senior advisor, Paul Solomon is the most qualified and well-rounded advisor for any task. Specializing in real estate, long-term care, life insurance and annuities, Social Security, government benefits, and senior housing. Luhu Advisors. Let us help you. Known for his Art Deco Cubist style and compositions with dancing saturated color, Ken Bieberman has lived and breathed art his whole life. From the early 80s, he's influenced the Art Deco district of Miami Beach. Featured in numerous restoration projects, hotels, galleries, and clubs, Bieberman creates for everyday folks and celebrity clientele. He's also the proprietor of Art Repro, a giclée and scanning company in Pompano Beach. When it comes to scanning high resolution, size is not an issue. Professionally scanning art up to 10 feet and 64 inches in width, Art Repro utilizes state-of-the-art equipment. On quality canvas or paper, archival ink and printing mediums are put to use. Art Repro ensures colors are true and every nuance of the art is captured, including the canvas weave. Perfection is the priority. Contact artist Ken Bieberman today at 954-547-0095 or visit his website www.artrepro.net.
Being a successful woman in business means having the courage to own who you are. We understand the challenges faced by women, and we are here to help. Our team is here to develop the best strategy designed just for you. Your path is unique, and with the right tools, you can accomplish your dream. From radio to TV, from podcasting to magazines, we create the visibility to amplify your impact in business. At New Dawn Media, we are here to help bring your message forward and help your business flourish. It is time for your message to be seen and your voice to be heard. Contact us at 866-224-5422 or brooklyncafe.tv. Your voice can make a difference.
Le Sorel Restaurant, home of the authentic Italian tradition, offers a large menu that consists of seafood, steak, homemade pasta, brick oven pizza, and homemade desserts including a wide wine selection. We also have the best bar in Boca Raton with delicious cocktails, homemade limoncello, cappuccino, Italian espresso, brandy, and other specialties. Open every day with a lunch and dinner menu. For more information or to make a reservation, contact lesorelrestaurant.com or call 561-235-5301.
Love the Brooklyn Cafe? Don't miss out on some of the latest merch we have available. Need a new shirt? The Brooklyn Cafe has you covered. We have a variety of shirts in all sizes, ranging from the classic cafe shirt to the highly coveted colorful hot dog shirt. Need something for cold weather? Why not grab one of our cafe hoodies? Or you can snuggle up with one of our soft silk touch fabric blankets. The Brooklyn Cafe has everything you need, from clothing about the show to our signature coffee blends and mugs. Get it while supplies last.
You've been watching the Brooklyn Cafe Show. Join us each day and after hours as we talk about the hot topics to open the conversations and share a few laughs. Now, back to Dawn and Freddie S.
Welcome back.
Welcome
That's
to Josh.
because Josh, the operator, is a Eagles fans, and they got beat.
They did
the
indeed
last
Monday
game.
night.
So the
Not that I would
Eagle
know.
has fallen. Or we could say that Artemis took off yesterday.
Oh, you guys are too fun here.
Thank you, mi gente, thank you. Artemis took off yesterday. That's the real Eagle. And he plays that song in retribution to that.
Pick a card.
Indeed.
Any card. We're starting. And that's where we're starting. Giselle with a Z.
I'm all confused with that.
We got a great show lined up for you today. The message of Tikkun Olam, repairing yourself, repairing the world, finding self-love as we go into Thanksgiving, the holiday season, I think is probably the biggest message. It's not about what you eat or where you eat it or what you're wearing. It's about being with family and friends and those that you love, especially yourself. So
And
if you're
be
like me, you don't want to
grateful.
cook, it's okay.
And spread love.
You can buy it and spread love,
Be
right? It's
grateful.
not about the food. It's about being grateful, spreading love.
Attitude of gratitude.
And you know
Attitude of
what?
gratitude.
Thanksgiving Day is 24 hours in a day. When you get up in the morning, every minute of the day, just be grateful. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter if you share a cupcake. It makes no difference. For one day, if we can just be grateful, just one day, man, can we get through 24 hours of saying thank you? That's all I want.
We had someone in here this week that said, you can't even do, what did it say, the 12th step is day by day. She said, how about one thought at a time? How about one breath at a time? Because a whole day, there's a lot to encompass in a day. And with Dr. Lynn, I think, if we can deal with one thought at a time of gratitude, or one breath at a time of catching our breath, or one act of love, then we're going to get through our day a whole lot easier than thinking, oh my gosh, I got 24 hours. What am I going to do? I might panic. I don't know what I'm going to do. I can't even breathe. See that? One thought.
Back to that
day.
again?
Back to that
I
again.
tell you.
But a couple of weeks ago, we got to go to City Lead Boca. It was first Thursday of the month. Renee Stern invited us with Barry Siegel and Associates with their table, and we met amazing people. And on the way out, literally, there are hundreds of people. As we're walking out the door, I met David Trumpler, so much so that I didn't have his name or his phone number. I had to call your buddy to get your name and your phone number, who has been a great connection of what we do here at the cafe. So I'm really excited to have you back, and you brought two lovely ladies with you.
Indeed, I did.
Pretty good to be you is what I think right now.
It is pretty. You know why it's pretty good to be me? Is I get to connect with wonderful people who take me far above who I am by myself. To
But
be
that you
honest.
see that and you acknowledge it and you continue to give back is really this whole message of giving back, and not ego, as she talked about, not anyone being bigger than the other, about truly bringing us all together as a community.
100% agree, and that's where we're really missing. And really, what's sad to me about what's going on today, and unfortunately, particularly played in the media, which is a whole nother issue with me because I wanted to be in the media when I was a younger, much more inexperienced person, is they're all about dividing us today. And I don't get that because I meet people from all walks of life. I meet, obviously, Latinos and Latinas. I meet Black people. I meet people who are Hebrew. I meet people who are from Arab countries. I love them all. If you're a good person, that's all that matters. It really is. And if we come together, love always beats fear and hate. Don't ever forget that. But the people who really, truly love from their heart need to see that. We got to stop being silent. We've got to connect with each other because when we do, we'll win. But otherwise, we let these people who are about hate and division because they see a way of getting power out of that. That's not the way you get real power. The way to have real power is to connect people through love.
I have to ask you, have you always been like this? Freddie and I talk all the time. You've done this, 15, 16 years? Most of the people that have longevity in what we do are female.
Really?
True
I
fact.
believe that,
Right?
though.
It's a true fact, And
But
one
he
of the,
has a different take
but
as
one
a male
of the reasons, David, is
perspective.
exactly what you're talking about.
What's that?
Because men seem to use the word ego larger than women, and men seem
agree.
to want to absorb the spotlight as opposed to sharing it. And I'm not. Don't get me wrong, guys. Great shows. I've done everything in this field,
Yes.
all of it. But they just don't have the longevity. They don't last as long for different reasons. But what you're talking about comes at a time that it's really important to hear. And whether it's a man or a female, if you can share a spot, you're way ahead of the game. Which is why I'm glad you brought him along. I'm glad to have met you.
I'm glad to have met you, too.
The Leeds deal is unbelievable. The show you did. Now, this is Grizel?
Just Giselle.
Giselle, Grizel, Hazel. Show you guys did was fantastic. We have a common friend, and I've been talking to him about having, when she was on the show, and before she got on the show, I got all these texts. It's amazing. It's amazing how you meet people, and all of these things can happen if you just follow your feelings, you follow your truth. And like Rabbi said, it all starts in you. Once you get that done.
I got really lucky in life. I had not only a really strong and loving mother who was amazing and lost her about a little over 5 years ago, which I miss her every day, but her sister and aunt, a couple of aunts, they were all just amazing role models as women. And then there's my sister, too, who anybody who meets her knows that she's one of the most dynamic women you will ever, human beings, forget just women. So I've been extremely lucky. God has brought very strong, loving, kind, magnanimous women into my life. So I didn't see any other way to be. The right way is to treat all people, but definitely women too, because I see that women sometimes get mistreated. I've watched my sister get mistreated just because she was a woman. And I don't, that doesn't compute to me. Because to me, it's about respecting people, their talents. As Rabbi was talking about, is we all have talents. And if we bring those talents out and we help others to bring their talents out, then we're doing something in this world to give back. You know, it really is about giver's gain. It's about being there and helping to take care of people. So, and meeting you 2 weeks ago, but then coming to the show last week, I was not ready for this. And there was a vibe that you get walking in the door and then just sitting and talking to both of you. I was like, oh, this is definitely something I can connect with. And you guys are great. You really are. And I'm not saying that for the audience or anything like that. I'm saying that because I'm looking at both of you, and that's really how I feel. You're two great people, and we had the great chance to connect, and I'm thankful for that. And I love the fact that I can bring these two ladies in, and I'm going to shut up now because talk to them, because they bring a lot to the table, both
I
of
would
them.
say I was lucky because I connected with David, and the first time we spoke.
Hold up the
about-
mic, right?
Oh, I was very lucky to connect with David the first time I met David as well, and we had this connection. We have similar values about helping people, and not only, again, with that ego, we were talking about egotistic, right? But he was very given, always like a servant leader. I saw him like a servant leader, so I appreciate you for inviting me on your segment last week that we spoke a little bit about understanding credit. But you're correct that sometimes women do get discriminated, right? Because and I'm a minority twice. I'm a woman and I'm Latina. So we have to work twice as hard and have double the qualifications, right, to sustain ourselves in the corporate world at this matter. But if we stay together and we help one another, I think we can all, be successful. And the strength is in the unity. So we have to continue to stay together, no matter what your backgrounds, religion, or values or beliefs are. We're human people. We're just
Well, the strength
human
is
race.
that you hold on to that thought,
Yeah.
and you push that thought, that you have that thought. So a lot of Latinos that I've tried, I don't know, 8 years we've tried to do Fuego. We did everything in our power to try to get that show up and going. Exactly what you just described. And you can't find the Latino that has that mentality. And don't get me wrong, I love Goya too, and we buy anything in the Goya can.
Right.
But if you ask people to give their thoughts the way you just did right now, it's very hard among Latino community. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe they haven't been exposed to it. I'm one of the few rare lucky ones that has.
Right.
But it's just an unbelievable medium to be able to talk to the masses and tell them, listen, jump in the pool and get together and let's make something happen. We talked about that before the show.
Yeah.
But what I love about what you do with credit repair is everyone is in the same boat, right? We're all dealing with inflation. You can call it recession, you cannot, doesn't matter what you call it. Grocery prices are ridiculous, rents are high, mortgages are high, interest rates are high, salaries are not any higher than they were. If anything, I think people in business on their own are down in income because everyone else is paying more and more on groceries and all the products on the side. And then you may want to get your kids to college. You've got expenses and you can't get a hold of your credit, and the bills come in, you go, I can't open the mail, and then the numbers grow, and the anxiety of what that does to you. How am I going to get to the next month? And you either pay it, you push it down. It's just this more anxiety that I'm really glad you're here, that you can help with it. You even got a phone call
Yeah.
from a Latin woman that I used to think from PR,
Yeah. Well,
of how do we, you talked about bankruptcy, credit. I mean, there's so many things that people need your help with.
Yeah, because one of the things, credit is such an important topic, and today more than ever is very important because it really affects every aspect of your life, every aspect. So not only when you're going to apply for credit that it affects you, but it also affects you when you want to go and rent, right? So landlords pull your credit to get even a rental. If you want to buy a car or a home or even get a job, employers pull credit now. So it really affects
Yes,
every
really.
Why are
aspect of your
employers
life.
pulling credit?
Yeah, they do.
In the insurance world,
Yeah, and they do, right?
we
Insurance world
do
too.
pull credit because if you have bankruptcy that could, You know, we're dealing with people's personal financial information. So we don't want to be in a position where we're hiring someone that is in a bad financial situation and they're inclined to do something that they should not.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah.
The bottom line is they're pulling credit because of the psychology of the individual.
Right.
Now, when I was in the insurance business, in the mortgage business, I looked at the credit, not so much about their credit history. You can't change history.
Correct.
You got bad credit, you got bad credit. But what kind of individual am I dealing with? They're pulling credit now to go to school because they're finding out that kids that are way over aren't going to do well in school. So they're not going to back them with scholarships or anything else.
Yeah, it's
I
incredible.
mean, it is the norm of business right now. And I'm glad that you brought it up because you got to take care of what you're going to do. You can't undo the bad credit,
Correct.
but you can't end your life either. So you got to sort of pick the roadmap to be smart about what you do to get it done.
Right.
Okay? Whether it's insurance, whether it's a mortgage, whether it's going to school.
Right.
You know how you always tell kids not to take photos if you're applying to college?
With the red Solo cup, as I'm sitting with one here. Yes.
You brought that up.
So true.
It is true. And what happens is, I met people that have had interviews with me, and they're talking to me about things they want to know about me, but not from my credit scores. They want to say, you know, how'd you get yourself in the suit? Because I had a bankruptcy. Okay? I messed up. But this is going back a ways. I don't even carry credit cards no more because I was fearful of the fact that I messed up so bad. And I wanted my kids to go to college. I wanted Freddie and Gio to go to school. So I stopped cold turkey of borrowing credit cards because of that.
Right.
Because when I was in the mortgage business, they showed me, in the insurance business, they showed me, they size you up on how you spend.
Fear is like the enemy of all of us, right? Because, and you're absolutely right, especially when something goes wrong in your life, and we all been through, right? Life-changing events, it happens in our lives, and at one point or another, your credit does tank, and then we get scared, and fear doesn't let people move on. And I want to remind, you know, the audience that yes, you can move on. You know, there is, you know, you have to start just by checking and pulling your own credit, see what's on there, get help, and see if someone could help you move on. But there is help. Don't get stuck, right? Thinking that, oh, it's so bad that I don't even know where to start. Or
What
it's so
score
bad I
is
don't want
it
to do
that's
anything.
considered a good score?
A good score is really to get a mortgage is 640 and up to even be, and that's fair. Actually, a good is 720 and up to be considered
Yeah, but that was
good.
That used to be, that's a paper, 720.
Right.
If I'm 463, I say my credit score, my combined, my threes.
That's
average
a
out to
fair
460.
credit score. That's
That's a
considered
horrible
fair.
credit score.
But it's
That's
considered
just-
fair.
No, let's not make this soft.
Yeah.
It needs work.
Yeah.
Now, what I want to ask you is if I'm at 460, the reason that I'm telling you I got 463 is because that's where I started. I used to carry 800.
Yeah.
And 463 made me feel bad about myself. This is
It
the
happens to
problem.
us.
Because you get yourself in the dump, you get yourself in the soup
True.
because you see this number.
True.
That's how I became a mini Eagle FHA. I was lending people who had 463 because I said to them, if we do this together, I believe in you. So I got that line. So 463, I meet you. How are we going to get out to 720?
Yes. So the first thing that we want to do is, you know, we want to see what's your past history. You mentioned earlier, right? Past history. There's nothing you personally can do it, but we can help. We have strategies that we can go back, and we have a law, the FCRA, that can help people with incorrect data or unverifiable data or outdated data that's on your credit report. In fact, 80% or nearly 80% of credit reports contain errors. That's 8 out of 10 credit reports. So we start with that, clean up all the negative items that are on your past history, that we're able to utilize the law to remove those negative items. Number 2, make sure that you're paying your payments on time. I recommend everyone to put their payments on auto pay all the time. Even as the minimum balance, put it on auto pay, because missing one payment, one 30-day payment late, could bring you back, 2 more years. So auto payment, making your payments on time. Utilization rate is another one. If you lower your utilization rate, you'll see a lot of points go up. I've seen points up 20, 40 points up just by lowering your utilization rate. If you lower it below 30%, or even to maximize it, because FICO even rewards you if you keep balances between 1 and 7%. A lot of people don't know that. You get rewarded by FICO, so you
Instead
get
of
more
paying it
points.
all, you want to keep it at 1%?
Correct. So 1% is better than 0. So instead of zeroing out and paying everything and putting it at 0, why? Because at closing date, when your credit score gets reported to the credit bureaus, it's at closing date. So that's the balance on that date that gets reported, right? So if it's 0 all the time, the credit reporting agencies is about data. They don't see it, so they think you're not utilizing it. So you have to at least leave 1% after your closing date, and then you could pay it in full at your due date. Usually closing date's about 10 to 15 days prior to the due date. So if you can do that, utilize it so that you can have positive payments reporting to the credit bureau, your score is gonna go
Now,
up.
I'm going to ask you a Latino mentality question. Latinos have a tendency, if the bill is due on the 1st, they're going to pay it on the 29th. Good idea, bad idea?
Yeah, well, the 29 is the due date.
No, the due date was the 1st of
The-
December.
Correct.
But everybody
So-
pays it on the 29th because they think they have a grace period.
Yeah, no.
Thank
yeah.
you.
No, they
Thank
do
you.
not.
29
you.
after the 1st or before the
Yeah,
1st?
no.
December 1st is due.
Yeah.
Latino mentality, they pay on the 29th of December.
December, not
because
November.
they have
I
this
don't know what the-
so-called
30-day grace
grace
period.
period.
There's no.
There ain't no
Someone
grace
pay.
period. What's the matter with you?
On the
you meant
29th of November.
Yeah,
That's what I thought you were
Yeah.
saying
No,
2 days
December.
early.
Yeah.
So what they're doing now
Yeah.
is that they're charging interest
Yes.
on
Yeah.
the dates
Correct.
leading to the 29th. So if it was
Correct.
$100, it's going to be $103.
Correct.
But it's the damage that
Yes.
you're creating.
And the late fee and the late remark.
And when
It's
a
terrible,
lender
yeah.
sees you're doing that and you keep doing that, nobody's going to want to deal with you because they're going to say, wait a minute, bro, the date is the 1st. Do
Yes.
you want the 20th? Do you want the 30th? Because the date is the 1st.
Correct. Yes.
This is called Latino mentality. You know why I know this? Because when I was in the mortgage business, every Latino that I did a loan with had this bad habit.
Wow.
You got a 30-day grace period.
There ain't no such thing as a
Dang.
grace period. You got to pay it on
Yeah.
days due.
Yeah. Or before the,
Interesting.
yeah, absolutely. So thank you for bringing that up because that
You
helps.
see, they'll
yeah.
listen to you before they'll listen to me. You know? They will, because the bottom line is that she's the professional in the business.
Yeah,
And you want to keep it tight. You want to
Yeah.
keep it smart. And do me a favor, when she cleans up your credit, don't go buy your freaking car. If you're going to
Yes.
buy a house, don't buy nothing. You
Correct.
got to have a game plan. And
Correct.
you got to follow that game plan.
Yes.
And if you're going to buy a house, listen to the two professionals because they're going to get you there.
Yes.
Yeah, as a team, this is, and then 3 as a team, you got insurance, you got
Well, then
credit
you have to
repair,
protect
and a mortgage.
everything. No, that's when the fun starts. Then you got the house. Now you need insurance for the mortgage and the this and the that. It goes all over the place. But at least you're in the position to make
Yes.
these decisions.
Yeah.
Man, I got to tell you, I used to lend money to people, and I used to do credit repair with a partner of mine. And she was the best because she used to say, let me get your credit card. And she used to cut it right there. And the guy would say, what are you doing? He says, you ain't got no more credit cards. We're going to clean this thing up, and you're going to listen to me or go out the door.
Yeah. Good.
17 years, I never solicited one piece of business.
Yeah.
Not one. They all came to me because I made it happen.
Right.
If you want a house, got to see the professionals and you got to listen. Not with your mouth, but with your ears. And there ain't no fake in this thing.
Right.
Don't try to get shortcuts. You know how
Correct.
I always tell the kids there is no shortcuts to work?
True.
Yeah.
You got to do what you. And it's funny because I spoke to Steve-O. And I said, Steve-O, because he used to work for you, right? At the
Yeah.
bank or
Yeah. In
something?
the bank. Yeah.
I said, Steve-O, you don't do shortcuts, do you? Nah, not me. I don't do no shortcuts. Uh-huh. There is no shortcuts. You want to do it and you want to do it right.
Right.
Okay.
And it's a strategy. It's a process. You have to be willing to go through the process. And a lot of, consumers are under the impression, I can fix my credit report, my credit overnight. It's not overnight. It took you years to get your credit report the way it is. So
That's
it's
right.
not going to be overnight. You have to be patient, have a strategy, so that we're able to get you there. It's not going to, it could take you probably To clean it up really good, maybe the average person is in my program between 6 to 8 months, but you can give yourself at least 12 months depending upon what
easy.
hard items are in your credit report that needs to get repaired. But it is possible. Look at, reach out to us. Use us as a resource. We can answer questions. It doesn't cost you anything for education. That's why we're here to give back and provide you with some educational tips. So
And
you can
get off
increase.
the psychology of talking to her means that you're a failure. Talking to her,
That's
credit
the hard
repair.
thing.
You ever walk into a conversation? What do you do for a living? Oh, I do credit repair. Oh, you do? Okay, I gotta go. And all of a sudden, it's like cooties. You don't want to talk to her because all of a sudden,
But yet
it's
you
a
want
bad thing. You need to.
Yeah.
Forget about wanting to.
Yeah, and I think it's because it's very personal, like you mentioned before, about you, what people think about you, because it's really like, it's your credit worthiness, right? Because everything out there, right? It's people look, for credit. No, it doesn't matter. You need to come up, be honest. The best thing you do is to be aware of it, right? That you need help. First step, I'm aware my credit score is it's not where it's supposed to be. I want to increase it, and ask, some professional help. Not the neighbor, but a professional help.
Especially not the neighbor.
All right, let's take a commercial break. When we come back, let's learn how to get professional help with credit repair, with mortgages, and with insurance. Because I got to tell you, now after 2 hurricanes in the state of Florida.
Oh, you saw the news?
No.
Wait till you hear
I'm
this.
afraid to.
Wait till you hear
Stay
this.
tuned. We'll be right back.
When it comes to investigative services, you can't settle for inattentive or irresponsible services. PI Network of Florida is a firm that you can rely on for actionable insight for personal or professional matters. From surveillance and insurance claims to background checks and identity theft, the investigative services are extensive. With over 30 years experience and 2 decades of serving the community, PI Network of Florida is trustworthy and reliable. Call today at 786-768-4394. Trust your gut. Trust PI Network of Florida.
Born in Marseille, France, Max Lazega creates whimsical and free-flowing interpretive art. His 40 years in the construction industry created the foundation for his craft. His unique work displays his view of the future with bold and playful combinations of materials and processes, but the methodology remains consistent. He fuses recycled materials and discarded building supplies into a fresh, well-executed approach. Lazega has lived in Miami, Florida most of his life, where he pursues his lifelong passion of creating industrial art. For more information, contact Max Lazega at artworkstudios.org or 786-326-8873.
Meet Jay Harmon, one of the many artists held in the Brooklyn Cafe Gallery. Jay specializes in various different art styles, but his medium to work with is colored pencils. His unique style comes from being self-taught and years of practice. Jay pulls his inspiration from many outlets like people, television, celebrities, and many more. With multiple original pieces, Jay's art graces the gallery with over 40 plus works for viewing and for purchase. His many years of being an artist has given him a chance to partner with the Derwent brand, giving him the opportunity to try many different work styles and further his craft. Feel free to come down and visit the studio to view his work, or if you're interested in your own Jay Harmon original, he's open to commissions on his website, coloredpencilartist.com, or catch his show, The Colored Pencil Artist, on Amp Media Productions on YouTube and Facebook. See you soon.
What would you do if you had a broken bone? You'd go to the doctor and use your insurance, right? What would you do if you had a serious problem with drugs and alcohol? Most people do nothing until it's too late. Your insurance can help you get clean and sober with the assistance of a place like the Detox and Treatment Helpline. Many times treatment is fully covered, so why not use your insurance to treat your addiction problem just like you would if you had a broken bone? And with the Family Medical Leave Act, you're allowed by law to take off time from work, and your employer doesn't need to know the reason. So there are 2 good reasons. You've got insurance you can use for your addiction problem, and with the Family Medical Leave Act, it's completely confidential. Call us right now and save a life.
Call 855-350-4504. That's 855-350-4504. Call 855-350-4504 now.
Artist Rosie Sherman paints her passions to share with everyone. Expressing herself through bold and vibrant colors, her suggestion and style are always in flux. Inspired by travels, nature, romance, and the human spirit, Rosie makes sure her depiction of women are strong and proud. Her landscapes illustrate the changing seasons in the diverse world that we live in. To find her artwork in the multiple medias you can purchase, visit rosiesherman.pixels.com.
You've been watching the Brooklyn Cafe Show. Join us each day and after hours as we talk about the hot topics to open the conversations and share a few laughs. Now, back to Dawn and Freddie S.
Yeah, yeah. Sweet shots. Yeah, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Can you feel it now? Can you feel it now? Raise that peace flag up high. Raise it up to the sky. Raise that peace flag up high. Raise it up to the sky. Turn on all your TV and your radio. It's bloodshed balling. Switching at the station is the same thing, yo. I'm realizing love we need today. Love we need, I pray. Love is all we need, but hate is all we breathe. Hear the mothers cry. Please just tell me why. Why there's so much crime? Hearts are hurt and children suffering. Do you ever stop and wonder when it's gonna rain? Do you ever stop and say, "Let we all be friends"? Old days children up in the streets. People hear me. Now they gotta be careful who they meet. I'm realizing love we need today. Love we need, I pray. Love is all we need, but hate is all we breathe. Hear the mothers cry. Please just tell me why. Why there's so much crime? Hearts are hurt and children suffering. Do you ever stop and wonder when it's gonna rain? Do you ever stop and say, "Let we all be friends"? Hear the mothers cry. Please just tell me why. Why there's so much crime? Hearts are hurt and children suffering. Do you ever stop and wonder when it's gonna rain? Do you ever stop and say, "Let we all be friends"? Can you hear the children crying? Hope is all they pray. Put an end to all the suffering. Put on them guns today. Reunite the world. Put on them guns today. Reunite the world with only love, I say. Can you hear the children crying? Hope is all they pray. Put an end to all the suffering. Put on them guns today. Reunite the world. Bring on them guns today. Reunite the world with only love, I say. Only love, I say.
No, your culture pays on time. And we're back. Tell me how you feel. Seriously.
Giselle with a Z?
No, with an
Giselle with an
S.
S.
S. This is S is the C. You're the Z, you're the S, sorry.
I'm all
Tell-
confused
Tell you how I feel about.
about when I got you angry.
Well, wait.
Tell the
I'm not angry.
world.
I'm not angry.
He likes to push buttons.
Passionate. I'm passionate.
Okay, tell me about the passion.
So it hurt my heart when you said, Latinos and the credit issue. And I do believe that it is, habits that are formed based on not knowing, just simply not knowing, like you said, that there really isn't a grace period, that you should be paying leaving 1% and not paying the whole thing off. That's something actually I didn't know. I usually, pay everything off because I thought that was the right thing to do. So just having the resources, I think, is really the difference, and having the education. So having a professional like Giselle that can assist our community, and also helping them teach their children, because that is the biggest difference. As I was saying during our break, my sister is the reason that my credit has always been great, because she taught me before I even got my first credit card how to go about it. And that's really the difference. If you have someone that can guide you, that's
Early on, in the early stages.
in the early
Yes,
stages.
absolutely. And
Forming those good habits
So
from
tell
day
us,
one.
what do you do for a living?
So I own an insurance agency, property and casualty insurance.
You're the owner.
Yes, I
You
am
don't
the
work
owner.
for one, you own it.
I do own it, yes.
I just want you to add these up, ladies and gentlemen.
I have a wonderful staff. If it were not for them, I would not be here right now. I would be in my office. But thankfully, we have a phenomenal team, and we focus mostly on personal and commercial lines of business. So a lot of property insurance, homeowners, and business owners insurance as well.
So you write business insurance in Florida?
Yes.
And homeowners.
Yeah, but
And
you know how rare that
homeowners and
is? If you
cars.
think homeowners is hard to get, business insurance is even harder.
I'm surprised they're writing any insurance. Did you hear the latest about what's coming out of the West? I mean, the damage was 2.8 billion. Now it went up to 3.8 billion.
Oh, in Fort Myers?
With a B, yes,
I'm
with a B,
sure.
with the damage. So what's going to happen to insurance in Florida?
Unfortunately, prior to Hurricane Ian, and I'm actually from the west coast of Florida, went to Florida Gulf Coast University. My family lived in Naples for many, many years, over 25 years. So it was a very difficult thing to see the way that the storm affected everyone. But unfortunately, prior to the storm, we were already in an insurance crisis. We had 6 carriers, known carriers, that were financially stable prior to all this inflation and everything else that's going on in our climate, and they went under. This is prior to Ian. So immediately when we saw that Ian was going to hit the west coast of Florida, I have to be honest, I was worried for the first time. I'm a Florida native, been here my whole life. I've been in the insurance industry since college. That's what put me through college. And I've never been so worried until now. The economic impact that it's going to have on our real estate market, something that I feel no one's really talking about, because there's so many variables, so many unknowns. But yes, the projections of the damage is far greater than what we could have imagined. So of course that's going to have an impact in the rest of the companies that we do have here. They have tightened their restrictions. So in a lot of cases, they won't even offer you a policy. And if they do, it's at a hefty price tag.
That's tremendous.
But there is a silver lining. There are always solutions to any problem. So it's having someone that can help you navigate through this very difficult, complex market, to provide you with the best rate and still the best coverage, because you don't want to skimp on your coverage and then have a claim and find out, oh, that's not covered, especially with a huge disaster like Ian. A lot of people didn't have flood insurance because they thought, well, I'm not in a flood zone, so it's not going to flood. That's not necessarily true.
Well, hold on, because flood and wind,
And
until
water.
recently, and water was just defined. But before that definition,
Well,
you tell me the rest.
I don't know if people remember Hurricane Katrina, but unfortunately, when Hurricane Katrina hit Louisiana, no one was expecting the type of flooding that happened, right? And many of the homeowners did not have flood insurance because it was not required by their mortgage. And that's why it's really important to have the education and understand how to protect the assets that you work so hard for.
Should you have flood insurance? Should everyone have flood insurance?
In my opinion, yes. As a Florida native, if you have a property in Florida, absolutely.
Even if I'm in the middle of Florida and there's no water around me.
It doesn't mean that it won't flood.
That's right. And that's the difference. Again, you talked about the knowledge of information being important. It's important that you understand if it rains 15 feet, you're going to get flooded,
Right.
right?
So Hurricane Dorian did not make landfall in Florida, but it did make landfall in the Bahamas, and we saw the type of destruction that it made there because of how much water it dumped on their land. So same thing could happen here. We don't know. So the best thing to do, if you're in a lower risk zone, you're going to pay a lot less anyway. I mean, these policies are sometimes $50 a month. It's
But
not
it's
very
interesting because
expensive.
you just brought up how it made your heart hurt because lack of information is really the culprit. So I'm going to throw it right back at you. I'm hurting because I just went through a claim that took 2.5 years after the judge ordered them to pay it. Not before, after. The company went under. And when the company goes under, it changes the equation of the game. Okay? And finally, the money came forward because of the new hurricane. It wasn't because they were going to send the money. The new hurricane, when DeSantis said, pay everybody, because everybody was hurting, that check came in the mail. And that was the only reason that check came in the mail. So, lack of information. If you live in a desert in Florida,
There is no desert, it's a swamp. Sorry to
if there's
tell you.
no water around you, you should still get the insurance because you never know, correct?
Or at least know your options. Talk to someone that knows, someone that understands what goes on in Florida. A lot of times, you're talking to someone that is in another state. So be careful what insurance agencies
another
and
problem,
companies
yeah.
you're talking to because they just might not know. They might just be trying to sell you a policy because they get paid more.
Now, flood insurance is flood rising from the outside.
Correct.
Not
Most
if
people
you-
don't know that.
Right, so not if your toilet leaks, not if you've got rain coming through your roof. It's rising water from the outside. So sewage, septic tanks, rainwater, I guess, coming through.
Correct.
If you think your house is on the hill, you're like, oh, I'm not going to have that. I'm not going to have flood damage. But in a hurricane, I guess things change.
Absolutely. They can change. You might not realize that the lake close by or there's a problem with the levee. We had something about, I want to say 6-7 years ago. There was a bad storm that came through. It was just rain. It wasn't like a hurricane or a tropical storm even. And it was all the way west. So do you guys know where Kings Point is? I imagine you do. So we had a lot of clients in the Kings Point area. A lot of these condos are on the first floor. It was not in a flood zone and it flooded. That's what changed my
If I
perspective.
live in a condo and it collapses, is that covered?
That was Kings Point also, with the tornadoes that hit them.
We're going to get there. I'm talking about the
Well,
other
the
one.
tornado, the tornado would fall under wind. The tornado would fall under wind coverage. And as far as a structure collapsing, typically you would have a homeowners association insurance policy that would cover the entire building. And then each unit owner would have, for the interior of their unit, their furnishings and things of that nature, they should have those things insured. Now,
So by wind, you mean wind mitigation? We're getting it mitigated
hurricane,
for...
right?
Well, no, not necessarily. And not necessarily a hurricane. You say that, but if they look up the date and it was sunny and 84 degrees, where's the wind? But meanwhile, your tiles are flopping in the wind because a gust came and whoop.
wind is wind. So if you have a wind policy, it should fall under wind.
And this is something you should advise people they should get as well?
Most of the time, most people have wind coverage and it's included. It's called a multi-peril policy because it includes multiple perils such as fire, wind, water losses, not including flood. Things like a pipe burst is what we consider a water loss or an AC leak.
If you have a claim and your insurance company or the new one or whoever sends you a very small check for $800 and you look at the damage in your house and you look at the damage in your roof, what do you do?
No. That can't happen. So the first thing that you have to do is you have to work with a really good agent that is well-versed in the Florida market. That's the first thing. They should have multiple markets to choose from. So in our agency, we have a lot of different companies on the personal line side and on the commercial side. So what we do when someone comes to us for an insurance quote, we evaluate, okay, what do you currently have on your policy? What are some things that could be a problem if you have a claim, right? And then we provide you with a quote, similar to same coverage as what you currently have, and then we'll give you an agency recommended quote with anything that we can see as a potential problem for you. So having someone that can do all of those quotes for you, check all the different companies. But this is the important part. You had mentioned a company that is not going to pay the claim on time or correctly. That is a financial issue. You're dealing with a company that's not financially stable and does not have good claims rapport.
How do you find that out?
Yeah, that's my next question.
Well, that's
You
a
come see
really
her.
good question. So there are quite a few different companies that evaluate these insurance companies. Just like in the life insurance world, there are companies that evaluate the financial stability. In the P&C world, we have Demotech, and they rate the companies based on their financial stability. So you can see how much cash on hand they have. Their reinsurance is so important. So this is the insurance that they have when a hurricane, a huge event happens, and they have to pay out all those claims. Well, they're going to have to put a claim in themselves through their reinsurance company.
You do all the work of letting people know, because I'm assuming that the better the company, the better the coverage. Do you do all that work?
Yes. So with the agency that we have, thankfully, the companies that we work with all have to be A-rated. This is all vetted. So I'm partnered with a corporate office that goes through all of that. And the companies that we have are reputable, financially ready companies. And they're evaluated annually. So if at any point they're not financially stable up to our standards, we will not write with them. We'll terminate the appointment.
You work with more companies than just Allstate then?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. So we have, most of the insurance companies that you know of in the state of Florida that have good A rating, those are the ones that we are working with.
So what I would tell people is, if you have a policy, I don't care who you are, whether it's business or home, to have her take a look at what you have. Because what's coming down, you may not like what's happening. There are people pulling out of Florida, other people taking place. You don't know. They're in the game. They understand it. Because this is, again, a point of information. I'm giving you the information because I get yelled at if I don't. But you should have them evaluate what you have and then decide what's the best move. Because I got to tell you something. I'm a New Yorker. Always will be. I love Florida. But there's some people down here that tell you, sign here, and I give you a policy. And the next thing you know, they're gone. And I just went through this. It was 2.5 years of misery, not having to do what you just said.
That should have never happened to you. I'm so
should've-
sorry that you had that
I should have had the
experience.
information you just gave me. I wouldn't have signed this deal with these people. But it happened, and we had to work it backwards. And I'm going to tell you something. The psychology behind it is tremendous. The three of you work in the field of psychology right now because of all the changes that Florida is going through. Okay, so if you have a policy, give her a call and have it looked at. And she's going to tell you maybe it's great, maybe it doesn't need changes. But I guarantee you every policy can use a change. I would stick $1,000 on the table. Every policy is missing something. It's just the nature of the beast.
You have flood insurance?
I got it. No, wait a minute. This is another thing, because we put the claim in and we got paid. It ain't easy getting anything. You know how much I'm paying in insurance? You don't want to know how much I'm paying now.
We need to review that.
Yes, we do. Where's your office? I'm glad she said it. Where is your office?
So we serve all of Florida. As I said before, being a Florida native, I have clients that have moved all over the state. So I'm very fortunate to have clients in Jacksonville, St. Augustine, Tampa area. We have some really great realtor relationships in the Tampa area and in the Naples area as well. So So yeah, we service all of Florida, but our office is located in Palm Beach Gardens. Lovely place right off of PGA and Military, so come visit us.
All right, we're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, let's see how we can tie all three of these pieces together. Mortgage, finances, insurance, credit repair. Colleen, hope you feel better. Thanks for all the prayers and well wishes. We love you guys.
We need you back.
Feel better, you and Cece. Hopefully we'll see Cece tonight on Night Train.
Yeah.
We come back, we also got a treat that was delivered.
Yeah, what you getting?
Bon macaroons made with love. Yesterday I got almonds.
I'm in the middle of a
Yesterday I got almonds and
here.
apples. Today I get macaroons.
I'm gonna have to put an office over there for you.
I don't know, people come bearing gifts. Stay tuned, we're gonna do some macaroon tasting when we get back. We'll see you right in a little bit.
Welcome to AMP2 TV, the first and only internet production company that's truly plugged in. When you're looking for a full-service internet radio, TV production company, discover AMP2 TV. AMP2 TV is a full-service media company that can provide all streaming videos, video studios, radio studios, and television studios. Call us today at 866-224-5422, for no business is too small to grow to be accounted. It's time for your message to be seen. Let AMP2 TV help get you there.
Stephanie Jaffe is a world-renowned artist who creates one-of-a-kind pieces. Using a keen sense of color and composition, her vibrant collages and mosaics integrate eclectic elements such as vintage keepsakes and fine china with blown glass and fired clay to create whimsical arrangements. For more information about her work, come down to the Brooklyn Cafe TV studio or go to stephaniejaffeart.com.
Welcome to Lost Harbor Spirits, a world where pirates inspire our spirits, treasures remain undiscovered, and flavors are infused with the essence of mysterious voyages. The distillery became one of the few women-owned craft spirits production sites in the U.S. From our award-winning spirits of vodka and rum to delicious gin, we're always coming up with some new and exciting flavors to keep your cocktails delicious and fresh. Contact Palm Beach Distillery at lostharborspirits.com to take a tour or purchase your favorite spirit at your local liquor store.
Has someone in your family lost a job recently and now you can't afford your mortgage payment? Or do you have a rental property and your tenants aren't paying you? We can come to the rescue and pay you cash for your home immediately. Yes, sell your home and get cash all over the phone without dealing with real estate agents or having to waste time showing your home to lukewarm buyers. You don't need to lose your house to foreclosure. If you have equity in your home, we'll buy your home and give you cash within days, all in a simple over-the-phone and virtual process. Call now before your situation gets worse. Sell a home you can't afford or just need anymore and get the cash you need today. Call this number now.
Call 855-348-5925. That's 855-348-5925. Again, 855-348-5925.
Tax audits, tax liens, wage garnishments.
Every day we hear stories like this about good folks who are simply struggling to pay their bills. Each of them are living a frightening IRS tax nightmare, and they are afraid it will destroy their lives.
I'm a divorced single mom, and my ex-husband left me and the kids with a lot of unpaid bills, including unpaid taxes. I was really starting to show my stress on my kids because the IRS had sent me a letter demanding a huge payment from me. I couldn't afford it. So then the IRS was threatening to garnish my wages. I'm already living paycheck to paycheck. That would have put me over the edge financially.
It truly seemed hopeless, but then a friend at work told her to call the tax relief line.
The people at the tax relief line, they told me about something called innocent spouse relief. They worked it out so that all of the taxes from my ex are not my problem. I don't know how that works, and I don't care. All I care about is that I don't owe the IRS a dime, and they are not going to take my paycheck.
Even if it seems hopeless, you should call the number on your screen right now. There is absolutely no cost for the call or the consultation. You are under no obligation. If you are worried that the IRS could garnish your wages, seize your assets, even take your home, call us right now. The Tax Relief Line is here to help you. Now you have a knowledgeable, professional team of tax experts that are ready to negotiate with the IRS and fight for you to save you money. The Tax Relief Line's professionals have successfully negotiated thousands of cases, reducing and sometimes even eliminating the tax debt for their clients. It's very easy to get started. Simply call the number on your screen right now. You don't have to live in fear anymore. The call and the consultation are free.
When you wear Zamboni Couture, you can feel pride knowing that you are supporting a small woman-owned business. We advocate for women's empowerment and always embracing feminine freedom and equality. Our fashion is all about style, quality, passion, and color through the use of amazing fabrics to help you find your own individual style. Let us inspire you with beauty and color. Follow us at Zamboni Couture on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, or call us at 561-860-6099.
You've been watching the Brooklyn Cafe Show. Join us each day and after hours as we talk about the hot topics to open the conversations and share a few laughs. Now, back to Dawn and Freddie S.
And we're back.
All I can tell you is I would have shown you the macaroons, but they're gone. They're so gone that they asked for more.
Where are they?
They're gone. Eaten, gone, ran out, done.
You ate one?
Yes, and I think it must have been blueberry. So amazing. Bon macaroons made with love. If anyone.
Where did she go?
She makes these out of her home. This is her home-based business.
But where did she go?
Handmade, gluten-free. I guess she went to make another delivery. I don't know. Josh comes out. Are there any more? I'm like, share them. I don't know what to tell you.
Her cell phone is there?
Her cell phone
So we
is
have to
here.
call. What's the cell phone?
954-536-5306. She's located in Coral Springs. You can find her at Bon, B-O-N, macaroons with 2 O's. Ladies, did you have yours?
I did not eat mine yet.
Delicious.
They're saving theirs.
And I'm me, done. Lunch. I went with the blue one. Figured it had to be blueberry. So good. We'll have to contact Susan and bring her back in for more.
Absolutely, gotta have a macaroon party. Do you remember Meisner Park had the macaroon store?
These were much better.
But that macaroon store, when you went there, you had to wait online. It was that deadly. It was unbelievable, these macaroons.
I never loved those. These?
I never knew what a macaroon was.
I'm still not sure what it is. I don't know what constitutes a macaroon, but it was really
It's
good.
just a funny cracker.
Anyway, back to insurance. We've got David, Giselle, and Giselle joining us. I don't know. I'm almost like making me nervous over this whole thing. If I were buying a house right now, we're looking to buy a house, the anxiety of what you need to do between your credit repair, credit score, insurance, interest rates. Where do we even start, David? Because I'm going to ask you.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let me give you a quick anecdote first, because what you just said leads us into a very important aspect for everybody out there. Get educated. I know of a story of a closing that happened just last week. The woman had a 700 credit score. She was trusting the mortgage people were connected with the realtor, which to me, they shouldn't allow, but you shouldn't do that anyway. It's ripe for corruption. Perfect example, 9.5%. 9.5% with a 700 credit score, you could do better than 9.5%. And the fact that a realtor and a mortgage company or anybody would put somebody knowingly into a mortgage like that, I mean, 9.5%, you're paying a significant amount more than you would at what you could probably get at 7.5 or 7 3/4 at this point. To me, that's criminal. I mean, really, that person shouldn't be allowed to do this profession ever again. Because to me, we're of service to people. You should be out there trying to take care of every single person you work with, whether they ever become a client of yours or not. There is no reason not to help people, no reason not to educate them so they make the best decision for themselves and for their family.
All right, so how do you know? You got a 700 credit score, the mortgage company says, here's 9.5, 9.25%. And you call somebody else and they go, okay, we'll give you 7.5, but you got 3 points, or whatever the lingo is. How
Right.
do you know what's better? Do you want to pay on this end? Do you want to pay it on that end?
Well, first of all, that's an excellent question. The second is really do your due diligence. Find people that you can trust and ask other people about that company and those people. You know, look online, absolutely. But online, the information sometimes isn't totally accurate. It can be very accurate. But as you can sit here and listen to Giselle and Giselle, they obviously know their industries extremely well. And you can tell as soon as you get into a conversation with them, they're both very honest. They're all about helping people, you know? So I would say get on the phone and measure them. I mean, we're all human beings here, and part of what we do is we have discernment. We understand, you know, how to get to know people a little bit. And you can start to, you know, have a list of questions and see how they answer those questions. And you can start to figure out, is this person got my best interest at heart, or do they have their own best interest at heart? Because I look at that all the time. And I've learned that the hard way. I'm one of those guys who is very gullible. Much of my life, I've been screwed over by a couple people because I like to trust people, and I trusted too quickly. So I would say it's very, very important. Take the time, do your due diligence. Don't jump on the first great offer that you got. Take the time to get to know, and find somebody who resonates with you as well. Because sometimes you'll meet somebody and they're supposed to be really good, but they didn't quite make you feel good. Where you go on for a couple more, and you'll find that one or two people that, okay, that's somebody I know I can connect with. Honest to God, that's the way I recommend it, and that's from my own personal experience.
And you're going to be dealing with these people over time, and you're going to be asking personal questions. You know,
Very
it's funny,
personal.
You said something funny. When
Sure.
I weighed 268 pounds, I wanted to take a diet pill and get down to 190. They don't make that. I found out the hard way. They don't make that. So you got to ask the right questions, because you're going
Correct.
to ask personal questions. You're going to ask, listen, how'd you get in the soup? How do we get you out? Everything else. Things that you want to know. And you got to be honest with yourself
Right.
before you be honest with anybody else.
Well, and let's be honest too. Credit in particular, people, it's very personal to people. It is absolutely part of the way they look at themselves. If you got a bad credit score, most people look at that and it makes them feel worse about themselves.
Yeah.
It really is true. So that's a great point you made, Freddie.
You
But it's
don't,
important.
you don't know why you have a bad credit score, and then you're afraid to
Oh,
open it up
that
and
makes it
look
even
at
worse.
Right. That fear we were talking about later, it's like, and then the fear we were talking about earlier is that you're like, oh my God, I don't want to talk about it. And there's a topic that is not talked about. And I'm like, yeah, we do need to talk about it, you know, and be honest with yourself and, you know, ask for help. We're here to help you for that matter. So
I got a great acronym for you that other people have probably heard before. What is fear? False evidence appearing real. Yeah, I knew you both have heard it before, but you go, oh yeah, that's a little pithy phrase. When you really take the time to think about it, it really is true. We've all felt fear, you know, and what is the two basic emotions of life, love and fear. Love has strength, fear has weakness.
Yes.
And from fear comes weakness and hatred. If you can come from a place of love, you can be strong, and you can be strong for others too, which is a very important thing to bring to life in general on a
You
daily
know,
basis.
you bring up a great point, because it just takes one bad experience to think everybody is a thief. Everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, she's
Yes.
pretty. I'm not going to her because this is just too good to be true. And welcome to Florida, man. In New York, I used to do deals with a handshake. Now in Florida, when I shake hands, I got to count fingers. And not a bad rap on Florida, just a lot of bad people.
I hear this so much. As a Florida native, again, it hurts my heart when I hear things like this. I'm like, it's not so, it's not true. How you can combat that in every area of your life, business and otherwise, is to stay true to your values. And if you stay true to your values, you will attract whatever your values are. And yes, there are going to be some shady people, but what I have found is when you stay true, just like I met David at City Lead here in Boca, it wasn't by chance. It happened for a reason. And I believe that it happened because we share very similar values. And that was very apparent at our first meeting. We had a one-to-one in my office, and he was speaking my language. And I encourage everyone, follow your intuition. Follow that, because that is what is going to draw you to the right people. And when you're surrounded by so many great resources, so many great people, you don't have room for the nonsense. You don't have room for the shady people, and they're going to protect you. They're going to say, hey, be careful with that one. Don't go here. I know this. So that's really something that can help everyone really combat the, oh, should I go here? Is this person shady or not? Are they reputable?
It's funny because thank God that at least Dawn and I agree on one thing. When we use product in here to endorse or say, try this or try that, we try it. And if we don't like it, we don't sell it.
That's the macaroons. Gone. Delicious.
But there's been CBD in here.
We've had
There's been...
Wait, do you remember not the first, but one of the disagreements we had was over coffee. We have our own line of coffee, and someone came to us with whatever brand it was, and it was chemicals, and it was for weight loss, and had more chemicals, and you said, take it.
I wanted the bag.
I want to lose weight, I want to do this, we need coffee. And I go, I can't, I'm a health coach, I can't promote chemicals. And you, but it's a good deal, we'll make money. And I said, I can't promote giving people chemicals, even if they lose weight. And then we found a great coffee company that's organic, that's from Colombia. They white label it for us here in Miami, and it's just coffee.
You not only found a great company,
They're
that's Don
unbelievable,
Pablo.
Don Pablo.
He came to studio, and he brewed coffee in front of us. And he's signing with, I felt about this big, because he's saying that has chemicals, and he's brewing it, and he's explaining how they do the process. We learned more about coffee that day.
We just
with
can't
Don Pablo.
promote something that is not in alignment with us. Sometimes at our detriment. I'm so ethical. Like, I won't take a deal if the ethics aren't right on it. So sometimes financially detrimental, but in my heart, it feels right.
But in the end.
Right,
But
in my heart, it has to feel right.
The reason I brought that up is because the Leeds group, in meeting David, I got to tell you, I highly would endorse it. I think it's a great idea to have your stuff looked at now and have it looked at while the sands is still, because it's about to change.
We actually have to renew our insurance policy by
That's
next
why
month.
she's here. And the funny thing is that if you need credit repair, I know it's a sensitive area. Listen, when I went to bankruptcy, I did it here in Florida, and I had to drive alone. And when I spoke to the judge, and the judge says, I'm going to let you keep your car. Because in bankruptcy, it's an iffy if they're going to let you keep your car. And I was getting divorced at the same time, so I had the double whammy.
Yep.
And he said to me, have you ever missed your child support? I'm being very honest. I said, no, Your Honor, I would never do that. He says, you know what, I'm going to let you be you. I'm going to grant you because they asked, anybody here want to fight this guy? And there was nobody there, thank God. And he said, I'm going to grant you this. He says, I don't want to ever see you in my court that you don't pay your child support. So for 2.5 years, that was the first thing I paid before I ate. Because I remember him saying that. And I got through the juice. It was almost $800,000 that I had to wipe off.
How long does bankruptcy stay with you?
Allegedly 14 years.
Yeah, it depends. It really depends what type of. It really depends what type of. And I'm not a bankruptcy lawyer attorney, but it usually depends if it's Chapter 7 or Chapter 13. Right. So those could be 7 to 10 years or 14 years,
It
depending
stays
on
on your credit report for that long?
It's still
Yes, it could stay 7 to 10 years. Absolutely.
Because you had somebody who called in
Yeah.
the other night and said she's in her, I believe, her fourth year of
Fourth year.
bankruptcy.
Of paying it, yeah. So
Right.
she's in a program, in a settlement program. I think she's paying
Which
it.
is
so-
different. That's
Which
a
is different,
different
yeah.
deal with the settlement
Yeah.
program.
Yeah.
Which in the day they didn't have those.
Yeah.
So I couldn't jump on a federal settlement program. That's something that
Yeah.
is taking place now.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, it woke me up. I had over 60 credit cards. I put them on the
Wow.
table one day. I said, wow, look at this.
Because in the 80s, it was an accomplishment to have 60
I
credit
bought a
cards.
truck
Right?
with a credit card. I bought my Maxima. Did I know you would have my black Maxima? With a credit card. I said, here, boop, gone. I had an 850 FICA. Nobody said no to Freddie. I was like I was walking on clouds. It was the most unbelievable feeling to buy anything you wanted on a piece of plastic. And then it added up one day.
Now, if people want credit repair, the other thing I was amazed about, Giselle, is how reasonably priced your program is.
Yes.
So do not be fearful, as if you're going to say, I can't afford it, it's thousands of dollars, I don't have extra money, I'm already in the hole. How much is your program?
But I would say my program to begin is a one-time setup fee to bring in the program for $199, and then after that is $99 per month through graduation of the program. So
And that's unbelievably
You
cheap.
can't beat that.
Unbelievably.
That's,
Right?
You know,
That's
I gotta
unbelievable.
tell you, that's one of those things that go, nah, that's too good to be true.
That's even worth just having her take a look at your credit report
Yes.
for $199 and say, are there things I can clean up? Am I good? Right now, it's a dinner in South Florida for two
I
at
can-
$199.
If I can just say, it's going to save you on your insurance like thousands of dollars. If your credit is really good, it makes all the difference.
Interesting.
And it can save you hundreds of dollars a month on your mortgage payments too.
I got a
It really
question
does.
for you.
Sure.
I had a closing. I knew a guy who had a closing. And they closed the deal, and he gets a phone call 30 days later, and he owed $60,000 that the closing company missed.
Okay.
And they made him pay that.
Yeah.
And so I said to him, no, you tell them errors and omissions, that's what it's there for. He didn't do that. He ended
How
up
long ago
paying
was this?
Yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Okay, well.
Errors and
'cause,
omissions should cover it, yes or no?
It should, but again, I'm one of those who says I need to look at the whole situation. I don't like throwing out, well, this is the truth. Not particularly. I would want to see what actually happened. What did he owe the $60,000 on?
I don't remember.
Oh, okay.
But
That
it was,
matters.
he owed it. He's not, he didn't say he
didn't say he
didn't.
didn't.
But they do the compilation of things that are owed.
And who missed that? It would sound like to me that the.
But David, this is why I'm leaning on you because
no,
he-
but I'm thinking the title
I
company
don't.
would
The
have missed
title
that.
company, exactly. And there's no, what's the errors and
We
omissions
should
on
have
that?
an E&O policy.
Yeah, they should have it right.
So how
Which is what you
stupid
said.
is this guy? They threaten him with jail and boom and bing. What are you talking about? You did the whole synopsis.
Who owed the money?
The
broker?
guy owed the money, but when you
Which who was it? The buyer?
Yeah.
Or the broker?
the seller,
The seller.
No, it'd be the buyer.
the buyer, the buyer owed the money, but the guy had to pay the 60 large. He had to borrow the money
bet he
because
did.
he didn't have it, and they threatened him with throwing him in jail. But that's not ethical. There's got to be something wrong there.
I would. That's definitely not ethical because that's the fault of the title company. They should have absolutely found that.
Thank you
It's
for
part of
saying
their
that. That
job.
always haunted me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm glad I could help.
This hypothetical guy.
I have to call him after the show.
Give him a call.
Yeah,
You're
no,
asking
but
for
I
a
would want
friend.
to hear more about it because I learn every day. I mean, people don't realize it, but every scenario's got different parts to it, and there's always a uniqueness to every situation. I didn't even realize it to the level that it is as when I got into the business. I'm like, holy man! But I love that. I'm a big jigsaw puzzle kind of guy. Anyway, I love bringing it all together, bringing with the insurance and credit restoration if they need that. I love bringing it all together to help somebody finally get the right deal done for them.
And that's a good idea because if you're doing a property, you're buying a property, whether it's business or whatever, you're looking at the professionals that help you do it. I told you, my attorney and my accountant, every month we went to dinner because I wanted to know the latest and the greatest. I didn't care if it was this big or this big. And I stayed on it for, 20 some odd years with them.
But
They
now,
still call me.
selling a house, buying a house, should you sell?
That's such a loaded
Depends on the
question these
house.
days. No, but here's why. Most of the rest of the country, you should probably hold off on selling and maybe
Not
buying.
Florida.
But it's crazy. I mean, we've gone from a relatively stable situation for years to where beginning of this year, especially after April, March, April, when they started to raise the rates, it obviously affected the rates, the mortgage rates as well. So literally, we've gone from low 3s to over 7. I mean, literally, it was 130% rise in less than a year, which is crazy. And what people don't realize, how does that translate? It means somebody getting a mortgage today for $500,000 is paying almost $1,300 a month more just in that part of the mortgage payment.
Wow.
And as Giselle will tell you, as in Giselle with the S,
That's huge.
when it comes to, but when it comes to the insurance, you're paying more on that level too. So when you add it all together, there's a big difference today compared to just back in January, February, and March of this year.
So back
That's
again, if
crazy.
you sell, great.
Well,
But then you got to buy,
right.
and now you're.
And where are you going to buy?
So you should have done this a year ago.
Shut up, you.
No, but the point is this, is that in most of the country, we're absolutely going to be heading into a recession. I get it, we don't want to, and I don't want to get into the politics of it, because I could, but that doesn't serve us here. The point is that I don't think that the prices are going to dip here as much as they are in some places. I think you're going to
Agreed.
see prices dip as much as you did in 07, 08, 09, and 10, almost everywhere else. However, because of all the building that's going on here. And by the way, for this, I would say that Ron DeSantis and the entire legislature of Florida really has done a great job. People are fleeing New York, Connecticut, New Jersey. They're coming here. It's absolutely part of the fuel for the boom that we saw in 2020 and 2021. And now that the governor in New York got voted back in again, you're going to see more people coming here because the laws they're putting in up there are absolutely more taxes, and people want to be here. They see Florida as a bastion of freedom, also a bastion of less taxes. So because of that, although interest rates I think are going to go higher, I think we could get to 10%, there's mitigating factors to that. So although I could see it coming down a little bit, remember we're coming into season right now. Season here is November, December, January, February, March, April. So there's all that going on. So I think we're going to be delayed in seeing a huge dip, and I'm not sure that we're going to see that much of a dip, particularly in Palm Beach County.
We should ask Frank.
I think he's right. I don't think we're going to hit 10%. I think that what's going to happen is when a loaf of bread is $20, something's got to bust. Something's got to give. That you still can get good deals in Florida.
Yes, you can.
If you buy right. You still can. And to answer your question, the reason I didn't do that move back then was because the insurance company promised me a check. Right. And I had damage.
I know.
And ain't nobody going to buy my house with
the
damage.
damage. Mm-hmm.
And then the guys that came in to fix the damage all wanted $65,000. How much did Freddie get done for?
I know.
Huh?
You got done for a good deal.
Good deal. You couldn't find the deal that I got.
Freddie
Because I
deal.
have friends that came in to help me, and the job was fantastic. But the bottom line is, I think you should at least explore the possibility
100%.
of doing the homes, of buying your house, selling your house, the possibility, getting the insurance done, the possibilities, getting your credit in good position, because the lower your score, the worse the house you're going to get.
Correct.
And the more you're going to pay.
The more you're going to pay.
And
I
the
was
more
just
you're
going
going
to
to
say
pay.
that.
But
yes.
if you start now, and I'm talking to those of you with the credit score that's bad, the guys with the good credit score, you should be doing this anyway.
Right.
Because the game can change as fast as it changed before. And don't get caught left.
Well, and the other part is too, is beginning of this year, last year, it was a seller's market. I mean, literally people were offering 10, 15,
Cash.
even 20% cash over list price.
Price.
That's not happening anymore. And as a result of that, and people don't think about this, they just see interest rates up, oh, I shouldn't do anything. The fact is that right now, you're starting to get seller concessions thrown in. And mortgage people like myself, we understand how to take those and translate that into money on your bottom line, so that it's all about due diligence. Do your homework and find out.
It's all about negotiations. You know, when you sell a house and the guy throws $100,000 in your cash and then another 100, there ain't no negotiations. The guy's throwing money at you. You
Right.
gotta be an imbecile not to buy this, to sell this thing. But now you gotta negotiate a deal. You gotta sit back and say, okay, papi, let's do this. You want this, I want this, and you gotta negotiate. And there ain't no better guy that I've ever seen to negotiate a deal than this guy. Because this guy is going to talk to you, he's going to talk frankly to you, and we know somebody else who's not like him. We know somebody. And he says, why won't people negotiate with me? There's a lot of reasons. You got to come from the heart on the buyer and the seller's side. And you understand that, because I can see it from you. So you have to negotiate these deals now. We're no longer in the hey, give me cash and you can buy my house. Now everything is negotiated, because now the buyers, they got a little leverage.
Right.
So be smart. Do it now. Get in the game, negotiate your deal. If things start to rise, you're going to see the buyers real quick say, okay, let's do this now. But right now, everybody's in a holding pattern. So be smart about it. Don't be jumping to conclusions that you can't do a deal.
But you got to get your credit checked.
Right.
And get your credit
You
repaired.
got to start with your credit checked,
Yes.
repaired, and then you're in a great position to buy, sell, look at insurance. Is it
No,
okay
that's
to
a must.
change insurance?
And right, I was
There's-
gonna say, all
There's an
insurance is a must,
important
too.
part to the negotiation. When you're going through the process, if you have the right person, the insurance person can actually help the realtor and the buyer negotiate, and sometimes the seller. And what do I mean by that? Well, if you're purchasing a home and the roof needs to be replaced and you can't get insurance, that could ruin the whole deal. But that's not how our agency works. We're always looking for a solution and how to make it work. There are other agencies, unfortunately, I've seen it, I've experienced it, where realtors are calling our office, scrambling last minute. mortgage brokers calling, scrambling last minute. The deal's going to blow up. What do we do? They said, we can't get insurance. It's not eligible. The price is too high on the insurance. The debt to income ratio is now not going to work. They can't buy that house. So what is our goal? We want to get the deal done. So there are things that we can do to help the buyer. So let's say that you're purchasing a home and you need the new roof. That's something that you can now go back to the seller and say, hey, can you give me some concession on this? Plumbing, that's another thing. We were able to get a deal done for a client of mine that, unfortunately, the plumbing, it was galvanized plumbing. No company would insure it. It was a big problem. And he was able to get a $10,000 concession to replumb the home. We were able to close on it, get him the insurance, and he was able to do the plumbing after the fact. So it's having those different markets. There are companies that will not do it, but there are some companies that will. And if you call the wrong agent that doesn't know that and doesn't have those markets or resources or knowledge, they might stop you dead in your tracks and say, no, can't do it. No company is going to insure it. And they can ruin your whole deal or ruin the home that you want to purchase, your dream home.
But you're right, because it gives him more leverage to negotiate deals on the backside, because he can say, okay, let's do this, and you can present it. And next thing you know, you got a deal on the table that nobody thought was ever going to happen.
I had to do that last year, and I needed a new roof on the house I sold, and they said, all right, well, let's split it. And then we said, our mortgage guy negotiated another way, but we still had to, and you said, just take the deal. It was like a difference of whatever, $9,000. Like for that kind of money, you take it and you go.
But you did real well.
I did real well. You said to me, if you can make 50 to 60% on your house, you got to go.
It's a great point. But you can see why I work with these two ladies.
Oh, I can see it.
Okay, they are top
They're
of their
fantastic.
industries.
Absolutely.
They really are amazing.
And the timing couldn't be better.
And we didn't
you know?
even get into the Hispanic market yet, but that's coming next.
That's another thing. That's another thing.
But I wanted to share actually a couple of industry updates this July of 2022 for those folks that have any medical bills out there that are in the credit credit report. Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, as of January 1st, 2022, will no longer, if you have any paid collection medical bills, they should be removed automatically from your credit report. So if you have them still on your credit report, that's a credit repair item. So
She said paid.
Paid medical collections,
What if they're unpaid?
they should not be on your credit report no longer. Now, any unpaid collection that are due to medical, they are extending from 6 months to 12 months. So that means that when you have a medical, especially now with 2020, a lot of people have a lot of medical expenses that are in the report. And the collection agency immediately, if you don't pay them like in 3 or 4 months, boom, they send you to collection and it's on your credit report. Well, now they said, nope, you have to wait 12 months, which is fantastic. It's a start. So in order for them to put it on your credit report, they have to wait 12 months now legally.
What if
okay?
it's already there? How do you get rid of it?
Now, starting next quarter in 2023, any medical collections that are less than $500 will never appear in your credit in your credit report. $500, honestly, is really low, but it's a start. We've been fighting to exclude medical collections in credit reports for years. At least now, we have it at least 500. It's the beginning. 'cause
Sometimes you've got a
medical bills-
catastrophic health situation, but you pay
Exactly.
all your credit cards on time, but you can't afford it because maybe
Yeah.
you didn't have health insurance. I mean,
Correct.
it's, right?
I agree. I think medical should not be included because that's, like you said, it's unexpected. I mean, it's not something you ask for credit.
Right.
So, but they're still, they're still being reported. So it's a start for medical, collections if you have them on your credit report. So anything that's unpaid, if it's unpaid medical, they're still there. But like I said, if you pay it off, call them, make payment arrangements. You might even negotiate with them saying, hey, if something happened to me in 2020, now I'm in a better position, let's make a payment arrangement. If you remove, the reporting, it could happen too. So negotiate with your, debt collector.
More to come.
Or you call you negotiate.
Those are things that,
People get hot under the collar when you speak to collections because they're going to tell you, listen, don't do nothing. I'm not going to help you. You call me and they don't, again, the art of negotiating.
Yeah, and it has to be in writing too. For this particular thing, it has to be in
listen,
writing.
if you just give her a
But
call,
anyway,
make your
yeah,
life
you
a
can
whole
call
lot
us if you have any questions
do
about
people call
medical
you?
collections. Yeah,
How do they
on
call
your
you?
report. They can call me at 561-962-4566. And we are also, my office is located right on Okeechobee and Jog, 2101 Park Vista, Vista Parkway. We're in Suite 102.
And Giselle with an S. How do people
And
find
it's
you?
Giselle with a Z. Giselle Reyes.
To contact me, you can call us at 561-253-8000. You can also reach us by email. My email address is G as a girl, Camillo, my last name, Camilo, @allstate.com.
And David, how do we reach you other than the cafe? His new office.
That's right. My new office is right here. My name, David Trumpler, Homebridge Financial Services. My email address is david.trumpler@homebridge.com. Actually, if you go onto the homebridge.com website, you can go in, just put my name in, or put the zip code in Palm Beach County. My phone number is 561-324-7387. And yes, you can call me on the weekends as well. But don't tell anybody.
That's a new show.
And let David.
Welcome to my office.
Let David. That's true. Let David negotiate for you. I think it's a great idea.
You know, tell us your biz. Welcome to my office. New
I
show.
like that. That's kind of cool.
Right? Kind of like Connections.
Yeah. That is.
Anyway, more to come. Have a great day, everyone. Stay safe. Be kind to each other. It all begins with healing yourself, repairing yourself, and then giving back to the world. As we are a week away from Thanksgiving, wake up every day and find some gratitude. Look for the messages of your day. And we will see you tomorrow, 9 a.m. drive time.
Don't be late.
Well, that's about it for today. Even though the show's over, the Brooklyn Cafe is always open for business. You're invited to join the fun every day from 12 to 2. If you missed some of the laughs from today, Dawn and Freddie S. will bring you more good cheer next time. You can follow the Brooklyn Cafe on Facebook at the Brooklyn Cafe TV to rewatch every minute of the show. We'll see you next time.